At this time, we'd like you to meet the class of 1995.
please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance We'd like to welcome you all to the 1995 Senior Assembly. And before we start making fun of everybody, Miss Wolf is going to come up and present the honors.
Our first presentation this afternoon will be by Byron White with the Caldwell Alumni Association scholarships.
Well, once again this year, we're real pleased to announce that we're able to give out 2 scholarships again in the amount of $1,200 apiece. This year's recipients are Benji Rao, my next recipient is Mr. Richard Maxwell.
We have a new scholarship presented this year, and this is a scholarship in memory of Kenneth Engel, and Mrs. Ginn will present that one.
The Kenneth Engel family is presenting a one-time music scholarship. Mr. Engel was a member of the school board for several years, and as you walk through the gymnasium, you'll see his name on the plaque. He was on the board when the gym was, on the year they decided to build the gym and was completed. He enjoyed music very much, as did his daughter Sybil, who now lives in California, and she is still involved in music groups out there. Mrs. Engel couldn't be here today because she's having cataract surgery, so she called and asked if I would be willing to present the scholarship to the person that they had chosen. And I'm very proud. I didn't do this when my boys graduated. Miss Andrea Burcham.
The next scholarship is the Lions Scholarship, and Mr. Roberts will present that, and at that time he will also give the Kansas State University Math and Science Award.
Due to the community's continued support of our projects, the calendar project and the concession stand at the Sumner County Fair, we're very happy this year to be able to give out 2 $500 scholarships. The first recipient, Mr. Tyson Webster. Second recipient, Ms. Sarah Powell. Each year, Kansas State University, the College of Engineering, gives an award to the outstanding math and science student in the graduating group. This year's recipient, Andrea Burcham.
Jennifer Sturm will present the Jane Scholarship.
On behalf of the Caldwell Janes, we're pleased to give a $500 scholarship to Benji Rao.
Representing Can Oakland will be Dave Lowe and Greg Aldrich to present their scholarship.
Last year, we gave out our first scholarships. Last year, we began our scholarships of 6 $1,000 scholarships. And again, this year, we have 6 $1,000 scholarships going out. And on behalf of Can Oakland Telephone's Board of Directors and employees, I'd like to present this year's, one of this year's recipients of a $1,000 scholarship to Andrea Burcham.
Is there anyone from PEO here today that had a scholarship to present? Okay, Mary Overall, would you like to do that now?
On behalf of PEO Chapter DW, I'm privileged to award our scholarships to 2 very fine young women today. One of our purposes of PEO is to promote educational opportunities, and PEO has funding available for loans and grants for women who wish to pursue different educational goals, and provided that they meet criteria that is outlined for these funds. The criteria we use today to award our scholarships is based on academic standing. So we award a $75 scholarship to a senior girl that has the highest academic standing in the class, and a $50 scholarship that has the second highest academic standing in the class. And so at this time, I'd like to present our $75 scholarship to Andrea Burcham. And our $50 scholarship to Leslie Perry.
Okay, the other scholarships on the program, we do not have presenters here, and usually that becomes the job of the high school counselor, and we don't have one of those this year either, so as class sponsor, Mr. Foster asked me if I would take care of this. So I'm going to present these scholarships then, starting with the VFW Auxiliary Scholarship. It's a scholarship in the amount of $700, and it goes to David Wolf. The next one that is listed is the Thelma Fisk Scholarship, and it goes to Courtney Akers. The next one that we have listed there is the F.A. Petrick Scholarship in the amount of $375 to Leslie Perry. I have the Starlight Award, and I'm not sure if this is for need and academics both, and it goes to Becky Schaffner. We also have several of our seniors that have received other awards, and I'd like for you to be aware of those, and so I'd like to read these and have these young people stand. Leslie Perry has received a Whitaker Leadership Scholarship from KU, and I do have a certificate for her. This is a $500 leadership award. Andrea Burcham will be receiving a valedictorian scholarship from Southwestern Assembly of God University in Texas, and I told her I couldn't say the name of that place, so I wasn't going to try. Mickey Schaefer has signed an athletic intent to play basketball at Southwestern. He will be receiving a presidential scholarship there. He received the Raymond Fry Scholarship, and he has received a service merchandise scholarship, and I have a letter about that for him. Bryce Boyle has signed a letter of intent to play football at Hutch JUCO, books and tuition. Sarah Powell has received a $250 Russell E. Surlees Academic Scholarship and a $250 Beatrice Foundation Scholarship at Kansas State University. And we have 3 young men who have received scholarships from Cali County. I have certificates for 2 of them. At this time, I have a certificate for Michael Adams for an admissions scholarship. I have, I think it's just a Cali County Books and Tuition Scholarship for Tyson Webster. And we know that Shane Calloway has received a full tuition art scholarship at Cali County, but we do not have a certificate at this time for him. Is there anyone else here who has an award or a scholarship to present to our seniors? Have we overlooked anyone? If not, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Foster, who will present their academic awards and different ones that are listed on the right-hand side of your program. I think while he's coming up, we also have one person here before we start this who does have a presentation to make to the entire class. Cleta?
The Citizenship Award that I have to present today is sponsored by the Kansas State High School Activities Association. Normally, one boy and one girl is selected from each graduating class across the state of Kansas, representing the good citizenship of the students that we have in our schools today. At this time, I have the pleasure of presenting the Female Award to Andrea Burcham. If Andrea will come up. Locally, we had a tie between 2 of our young men, and both of them are more than deserving of this award. So at this time, I will present certificates to Mickey Schaefer and Benji Rao. Each year, the President of the United States promotes an award called the Presidential Educational Award. It was prior called the Presidential Academic Fitness Award. Today we have 3 seniors that will be leaving the secondary level of public education with this honor, which is based upon both high achievement scores on standardized tests as well as outstanding grade point averages. At this time, will these students come forward and be recognized? Leslie Perry, Andrea Burcham, and Mickey Schaefer. The next award that is presented is a local award referred to as the Principal's Award. These students qualified for this award by scoring in the top quarter nationally on their college admissions exam. I'm very pleased with the list of students that we have this year, and we had others among this group that just barely missed qualifying for this award. So I'm very, very proud of this group of students. At this time, we will present certificates and medals to Andrea Burcham, Jamie Webster, Leslie Perry, Mickey Schaefer, Richard Maxwell, and last, Tyson Webster. I'm very proud of this group of students. The Kansas Board of Regents recognizes outstanding students who have completed the prescribed board's curriculum, which is their college preparation courses, which include not only challenging math and science and English courses, social sciences, but also these students have completed 2 years of a foreign language. At this time, I have 4 students to receive this award: Courtney Akers, Sarah Powell, Mickey Schaefer, and James Stowe, if they will come forward. Even though our valedictorian and salutatorian have been recognized, at this time I would like to formally present awards to our top 2 students. First, we will award the salutatorian award to Leslie Perry. And the number 1, the class valedictorian of 1995, Andrea Burcham. Before I leave you, this morning I was listening to television, and a car dealership in Wichita was advertising the conclusion of some sale they were having, and the last line in that commercial said something to the effect that the event was coming to an end, but the adventure would continue. And to these seniors that we have this year, the class of 1995 has been a wonderful group of kids. I'm very proud of you, and I wish you the best that life has to offer. Congratulations.
We're going to do the Remember Wins now. Remember when Michael Adams was Rudolph in the first grade play?
Remember when Courtney Akers went out with all the boys in the class in 1 year?
Remember when Bryce Boyle looked like Cody?
Remember when Andrea Bertram got a B? We don't either.
Remember when Shane Calloway stopped at stop signs instead of on them?
Remember when Enrico Canali was in love with Stacy Simon?
Remember when Kira Gard had the biggest beer belly in the class?
Remember when Josh Ginn didn't ride his three-wheeler?
Remember when Holly Goodman took naps in class?
Remember when Marcus Knowles wasn't expecting?
Remember when Corey Kane's nickname was Hoover?
Remember when Clifford Latimer didn't give Mrs. Bevins a hard time?
Remember when Todd Lowe had long hair?
Remember when Richard Maxwell had wall-eyed glasses?
Remember when Alyssa Overall was a Sooner fan? Remember when Leslie Perry spoke English?
Remember when Sarah Powell was a mute in grade school?
Remember when Benji Rouse spent all of his time at the bowling alley instead of at Monica's house?
Remember when Luana Russell was at school?
Remember when Mickey Schaefer wore Michael Jackson clothes?
Remember when Becky Schaffner was twice as tall as all of the boys in the class?
Remember when Jim Stowe was a cowboy?
Remember when Arsene Thompson started on the junior high basketball team?
Remember when Jamie Webster didn't give everybody a hug?
Remember when Tyson Webster was the shyest person in the class?
Remember when David Wolf went into Eraser and asked for a rubber?
Remember when Jeff Wyckoff was a Wichita Wings fan?
Remember when Travis York had a different haircut at birth?
We're now going to do the Can You Imagines. Can you imagine Michael Adams without David Laddie 2 steps behind him?
Can you imagine Courtney Akers as a sumo wrestler?
Can you imagine Bryce Boyle not wanting to fight?
Can you imagine Andrea Bertram with a tan?
Can you imagine Shane Calloway with a perfect attendance?
Can you imagine Enrico working in journalism?
Can you imagine Kira Gard going a day without yelling at Todd?
Can you imagine Josh Ginn loud and obnoxious?
Can you imagine Holly Goodman not laughing?
Can you imagine Marcus Knowles quiet?
Can you imagine Corey Kane having a dirty car?
Can you imagine Clifford Latimer as a Chippendale dancer?
Can you imagine Todd Lowe not being yelled at by Kira?
Can you imagine Richard Maxwell shy?
Can you imagine Alyssa Overall in Metal Shop?
Can you imagine Leslie Perry not in control?
Can you imagine Sarah Powell as a mud wrestler?
Can you imagine Benji Rao without freckles?
Can you imagine Luana Russell not working?
Can you imagine Mickey Schaefer not trying to be the center of attention?
Can you imagine Becky Schaffner not a victim of being picked on?
Can you imagine Jim Stowe a midget?
Can you imagine Arsim Thompson, fat, bald, and preppy?
Can you imagine Jamie Webster not speaking her mind?
Can you imagine Tyson Webster with a 6-foot girlfriend?
Can you imagine David Wolf not conceited?
Can you imagine Jeff Wyckoff without his Oakleys?
Can you imagine Travis York not having greasy hands?
We're going to do the 20 years from now. You started. Oh, you did. Michael Adams will be wrecking his brother's 20th car.
Courtney Akers will be modeling for big and beautiful magazines.
Bryce Boyle will be playing football for the California State Penitentiary.
Andrea Bertram will be the opening act of the Billy Graham Telethon.
Shane Calloway will still be fixing his truck.
Enrico will win the Tour de France.
Kira Gard will be fixing Todd's lunch as he plows his field.
Josh Ginn will be riding his 3-wheelers.
Holly Goodman will be the host of Make Me Laugh.
Marcus Knowles will still be complaining about Caldwell.
Corey Kane will merge the Honda and Hoover companies. Go, that's a good one.
Clifford Latimer will replace Marky Mark as the Calvin Klein underwear guy.
Todd Lowe will be the largest farmer in Sumner County.
Richard Maxwell will have taken over the world's computer system as part of his five-year plan for world domination.
Alyssa Overall will be cooking meals for a harvest crew.
Leslie Perry will have bought the KU basketball team and christened the new Perry Fieldhouse.
Sarah Powell will be a talk show host.
Benji Rao will be starring in the Don Juan DeMarco movie.
Luana Russell will be the next Marcia Clark.
Mickey Schaefer will be the next Dick Vitale, baby.
Becky Schaffner will be the leading advocate of victims' rights.
Jim Stowe will not only be the president of the Hair Club for Men, but also a client.
Arsim Thompson will still be trying to decide what to do when he grows up.
Jamie Webster will be delivering her 9th set of twins.
Tyson Webster will own a chain of Tyson's body shops.
David Wolf will be the leading first battalion of women combat soldiers.
David Wolf will be leading the first battalion of women into combat in World War III. Jeff Wyckoff will still have his Oakleys.
Travis York will be in the charter.
We're going to do the senior songs. Michael Adams, Teddy Bear.
Courtney Akers, Can't Find a Better Man.
Bryce Boyle, Bad Boys.
Andrea Burcham, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
Shane Calloway, Signs.
Enrico, Rico Suave.
Kira Gard, Unskinny Bop.
Josh Ginn, Ordinary Average Guy.
Holly Goodman, Is There Anybody Listening?
Marcus Knowles, Bad Medicine.
Corey Kane, Little Honda.
Clifford Latimer, Super Unknown.
Todd Lowe, Whoop, There It Is.
Richard Maxwell, 20th Century Digital Boy.
Alyssa Overall, Material Girl.
Leslie Perry, Opposites Attract.
Sarah Powell, Silent Lucidity.
Benji Rao, Rubber Ducky.
Luana Russell, Working 9 to 5.
Mickey Schaefer, Mr. Personality. Becky Schaffner, Let's Get Together.
Jim Stowe, Attack of the 500-Foot Hippie. Arsene Thompson, Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills.
Jamie Webster, Whiny Whiny.
Tyson Webster, Comfortably Numb.
David Wolf, I'm Too Sexy.
Jeff Wyckoff, I Got a Girl Named Bonnie Maroney.
Travis York, Whiskey Bent and Hellbound.
We'd like to say our wills now.
I, Holly Goodman, will my ability to get along with people to Shauna Cox.
I, Sarah Powell, will my quiet demeanor to Carrie Struble.
I, Becky Schaffner, will my ability to know when to keep my mouth shut to any junior in need.
I, Kira Gard, will my hair to Mr. Foster.
I, Courtney Akers, will my ability to know when people are just friends to those who don't know the concept.
I, Leslie Perry, will my ability to have a silent conversation across the room in Mr. Bostick's class to Carrie Struble.
I, Alyssa Overall, will my ability to wear unmatched clothes to Tracy Shortfigure.
I, Andrea Burcham, will my tan to Melissa Burdett.
I, Jamie Webster, will my ability to stand up and state my own opinions to Monica Sawyer.
I, Josh Ginn, will to work through school and work hard to Jake Ginn.
I, Mike Adams, will my Impala to David Laddie.
I, Bryce Boyle, don't will nothing.
I'm Mickey Schaefer, will my clean police record to Squig.
I, Richard Maxwell, like to will my ability to cause trouble without getting any to all the poor children suffering in detention halls around the world.
I, Arsene Thompson, don't will anything either.
I, Enrico Canali, will my ability to know the capitals of the world to Mickey Schaefer.
I, Clifford Latimer, will my ability to work hard in school to Mike.
I, Marcus Knowles, will my ability to procrastinate and still graduate high school.
I, Corey Kane, will my ability to keep my car clean to Tyler Stover.
I, Tyson Webster, will my Doc Martens to Russell Morris.
I, Benji Rao, will my Co-Student of the Month award to Justin Hatcher.
I, David Wolf, will my ability to mouth off the referees and not get in trouble for it to Mr. Sawyer.
I, Todd Lowe, will my ability to goof off a middle shop class and still get a good grade for it to Brant Schmidt.
I, Travis York, will my ability to walk and talk at the same time to Stephen Clark.
I, Shane Calloway, will my hair to Jack Schmidt so he can have some.
I, Jeff Wyckoff, will my Oakleys to Squig.
Turn the microphone back on, please. Thank you.
Sorry. Before we give out the gifts, we'd like to remind everyone that this is just for fun. If we hurt anybody's feelings, we're sorry. The ideas for the gifts have just basically come from the teachers from the last 4 years that we've been here.
Okay, the first gift goes to Mr. Foster, and we wrote little things for each one. It says, "We know that you're going to miss the long talks with Richard next year, so we got you a picture of him to set on your desk."
Lorraine, you have announced that after every homecoming since we were freshmen. We found your stencils this year in the bottom of our freshman homecoming box, along with other things that we borrowed that year. Lorraine, we are finally done borrowing them, and we'd like to return them to you. For interest, we got you a plant for your office.
All right, the next gift is for Angie. Our gift to you is for your bad hair days that you always complain about. It matches everything.
Mrs. Vanek, we like to return all our overdue books to you.
All right, the next one's for Dixie. We thought you needed a new pair of earmuffs.
Mrs. Reynolds, we got you a rope so that you could tie down your wandering study hall students.
Ms. Bevins, we got you a neck brace for all your bus rides.
Mrs. Ginn, we thought you needed some air freshener for your room after the grade school classes have been there.
Okay, Mr. Roop, we decided that you needed something so you could fit in with your PE classes on the way to the bowling alley and the swimming pool. Here are some cigarettes, candy, of course.
Mrs. Rube, we decided that every year you have to put up with gag gifts about your husband, so this year we got you a plant for your room.
Mr. Bocox, we got you a Walmart shirt so you can show everyone that you are a Walmart stockholder. By the way, we got all our gifts at Walmart. We hope that it helped your stock.
Boz, we are afraid that one day you are going to fall off your chair during a lecture, so we made you a real soapbox to stand on. Then we thought that we'd make it easier for you next year. We made you a no cheer zone sign so you don't have to write it on the board for your next year's cheerleaders. And it says, "This is for any future cheerleaders that you might happen to have in your class. With love from your two favorite cheerleaders, Alyssa and Leslie."
Mrs. Bocox, we just wanted to pay you back for all the discs that we left in our disc drives and didn't pay for.
Mrs. Cornejo, we thought you needed some help controlling the freshmen, so we got you a bag of switches to threaten them with.
Mr. Burdette, we thought you needed some extra help hearing your junior high students.
Miss Reese, we made you an eraser hat so you don't have to put a dirty eraser on your head.
Mr. Sawyer, we got you some breath mint so you don't have to ask us if you had bad breath anymore. You can have a breath mint in your mouth all the time.
Mr. Roberts, we thought we'd help your wife with your laundry by giving you an apron. You can wear this while you're teaching class to keep the chalk dust off of you. And you even have a little pocket for your chalk.
Mr. Jameson, we made you a coat rack for your room so you don't have to walk out into the hall to hang up your students.
Coach Mack, we got you a bag of tension relievers for volleyball and basketball games.
Mrs. Johnson, we got you your own donkey, but this donkey will stay in its pen. We also got you another supply of tea bags for your room.
Miss Hauber, we looked all over Kansas, and Becky and I looked all over Germany, and I think we found you the perfect man. What do you know? What do you know? All we had to do was go to our local Walmart.
Okay, Mr. Munson could not come this afternoon, so Pam, can you come up here and accept this? It's his retirement gift for Mr. Munson. He has made several comments about needing this for his next job. So we got him a Walmart greeter hat, a Walmart t-shirt that says, "Hi, I'm Dave," name tags, and a Walmart ad to pass in and out at the door.
Our last gift is for our sponsors. Tony and Hug, we appreciate everything that you've done for us, and we're going to miss you next year. We got Hug a couple ties, and Miss Wolf, it's kind of hard to describe. It's just a little square jewelry box type thing. So.
In closing, here's a poem that the class picked out by Colin McCarty. And it goes, "We've been through a lot together, and beyond the happiness and the tears that have been shared comes something else. It's a connection that will always be there between us, no matter where we go or how much time passes. We will always, in a very special way, remain together in spirit. And that knowledge is cherished as the one thing that must never change. In a world of constant transition, I hope that we feel towards one another will always stay the same." That's all.
I'll just pull down in front of the cafeteria, okay? See you later.
Mr. Munson, members of the school board, faculty, honored guests, family, friends, and fellow classmates. The past few weeks, I've spent countless hours fretting over what would be the perfect graduation speech and what I wanted to say to my class while we were all together. When I discussed my problem with my family and my friends, I was first given the advice, make it short. The next piece of advice was, in time, you'll know what it is you want to say. But time was running out, and those of you who know me realize I have to know well in advance what I'm doing. Otherwise, I become just a little bit touchy and stressed out. But even with all the ideas others suggested, I kept coming back to a story which I had read a couple of years ago in a book by Robert Fulghum. The story deals with where we as individuals feel comfortable or not so comfortable. It goes like this. Giants, Wizards, and Dwarfs was the game to play. It's a large-scale version of rock, paper, and scissors, and involves some intellectual decision-making. But the real purpose of the game is to make a lot of noise and run around chasing people until nobody knows which side you are on or who won. Organizing a room full of 80 wired-up grade schoolers into teams is no mean accomplishment, but we did it with the right goodwill and were ready to go. The excitement of the chase had reached a critical mass. I yelled out, "You have to decide now which you are, a giant, a wizard, or a dwarf." While the groups huddled in frenzied consultation, a tug came at my pant leg. A small child stands there looking up and asks, "Where do the mermaids stand?" A long pause, a very long pause. "Where do the mermaids stand?" says I. "Yes, you see, I am a mermaid," she replied. "There are no such things as mermaids." But she insisted, "Oh yes, I am one." She did not relate to being a giant, a wizard, or a dwarf. She knew her category, mermaid, and was not about to leave the game and go over and stand against the wall where a loser would stand. She intended to participate where mermaids fit into the scheme of things, without giving up dignity or identity. She took it for granted that there was a place for mermaids. Well, where do the mermaids stand? All the mermaids, all those who are different, who do not fit the norm, and who do not accept the available boxes and pigeonholes. Answer that question, and you can build a school, a nation, or a world on it. Seniors, I think we'll all agree that our class contains an amazing mixture of individuals. We each fit into various large groups, but from there we seem to fall into many smaller groups. Despite all of the differences among these groups, we've accepted each other for who we are and been able to get along, not just tolerating each other, but actually enjoying each other. While going through school, we've always seemed to know which group or category we fit. But now, as we part and go our separate ways, we will have to search to find new places where we will fit in comfortably. Not always are we going to fit the norm or accept and fall into the available boxes and pigeonholes. Like the little girl in the story, we should be secure enough with ourselves to not feel the need to change in order to try to fit in where we don't. Without giving up our dignity or identity, I have no doubt that each of us will find the perfect fit. Now, seniors, I don't know how your parents have been acting around your house, but it's been one big mood swing at mine. One minute they're ready to get me out of their hair, and the next minute Mom's teary-eyed because she just can't believe how fast the time has gone by and that I'm already graduating. But I just rolled my eyes and gone on with my day. I'm sure it's hard for all of us to understand why they are so emotional. After all, we've been looking forward to this day for years. But the other day, I read a plaque shaped like a kite that's been hanging on the wall in my room since I began high school. The meaning of it never really hit me until a few weeks ago. It helped me realize what our parents experienced throughout our lives. Maybe it will help you, as well as your parents, come to deal with what is happening. Children are like kites. You spend a lifetime trying to get them off the ground. You run with them until you're both breathless. They crash. You add a longer tail. They hit the rooftop. You pluck them out of the spout. You patch and comfort, adjust and teach. You watch them lifted by the wind and assure them that someday they'll fly. Finally, they are airborne. but they need more string, and you keep letting it out. And with each twist of the ball of twine, there's a sadness that goes with the joy because the kite becomes more distant. And somehow you know that it won't be long before that beautiful creature will snap the lifeline that bound you together and soar as it was meant to soar, free and alone. Class of 95, I wish you the best of luck in the future, and without giving up your identity, I'm sure you will find exactly where you fit.
Mr. Munson, Board of Education, Administration, faculty, family, friends, and class of 95. Today, I'm going to talk about life. According to our beloved science teacher, Miss Reese, it all began when a glob of mud interacted with some proteins. Yeah, right. Anyway, no matter how you believe the Earth was created, we all agree that dinosaurs once inhabited the globe. These dinosaurs varied in shape, size, strength, attitude. They were as diverse as people are today. Now, I know that we are finally out of Miss Reese's classes, and you never want to study biology again. But the class of 95 can learn some very important truths from these prehistoric creatures. Now, you may be asking, what in the world can I learn from an extinct, overly large creature that has a brain the size of a pea? Well, nothing, really. But we can learn some character insights from the synthetic dinosaurs that we have created today. First of all, from television, we recall the pet dinosaur of Fred Flintstone, Dino. I remember running home every day after school when I was younger in order to watch Dino trample Fred down when he came home from work. I've always considered Dino one of my most favorite cartoon characters for a long time. He's always smiling, always ready to comply with whatever task given him, always prepared to defend his family and those he loves. This should be our everyday attitude. We should try to show the same exuberance toward life that Dino does. With a cheerful outlook, we can each accomplish a lot more and in a lot less time as well. People will enjoy being around you because you enjoy life yourself. No one likes to be around a person who wants everyone else to feel sorry for them. Remember, pity parties usually have only one guest that shows up, yourself. Our next specimen of study is one that society has mixed feelings about. Most of the younger set thinks that he is the best thing since chocolate ice cream. Those of us who are older wish that we owned a big gun. Anyway, Barney the purple dinosaur, seen on television and videos in every preschooler's household across America, can teach us something too. Children love Barney because he provides a fantasy world for them to live in. It's a world filled with magic and happiness. Good always triumphs over evil. Let us not forget our own innocence. We need to be reminded that we were once small children and had dream worlds where every story had a happy ending. However, we must not be naive. As budding adults, we have now grown out of this fantasy world. Life is not always hunky-dory. The Barney theme song is not necessarily true. No, I'm not going to sing it, but you know the words. I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. But it doesn't always happen that way. Family members die. No amount of love can ever bring them back to this earth again. Physical, verbal, and mental abuse tear apart many families. Children go hungry. People lose their homes, their jobs, their will to live. No, life is not fair. Families are not always happy. But the pain can lessen with time, love, and with faith in God. The movie Jurassic Park teaches us another important lesson. This thriller told of a place where dinosaurs were created and carefully corralled by electric fences. However, when the electricity was gone, the animals had free reign of the amusement park, killing people and beasts alike. We can learn quite a bit from this fantasy as well. These paleontologists tried to create an atmosphere from the past, but they did not consider the consequences of returning to an age that was forgotten. There is also danger to us in letting the past rule the present. The Bible says in Philippians 3:13 that by forgetting those things which are behind and reaching for those things which are before, we can press toward the mark. We cannot let past failures mar our future successes. We must pay the consequences for our mistakes, and then we must move on, never forgetting our misjudgments, but learning from them. In Disney's movie, The Land Before Time, there was little food left on the planet for the plant-eating creatures. A group of young dinosaurs was separated from their parents during this time and had only a small brontosaurus' memory of his mother to guide them to this green paradise of lore where they would find their parents. However, the going soon began to toughen, and the other dinosaurs began to believe that the whole idea of a green paradise was just a fairy tale. However, the brontosaurus kept plodding on, never giving up hope. In the end, his perseverance paid off. He reached his goal and saved his friends from starvation. This can be applied to our lives as well. Most of us have dreams and goals. What we want to be, how much we want to make, what kind of a house we want to live in. There are times when others may think that your goals are too lofty or that you're not talented enough to achieve them. This story teaches us to hold on to our dreams. Though everyone scoffs at your attempts, keep moving toward the goal and you'll reach your green paradise. You must only have faith. Faith in God, faith in yourself, and faith in those around you. Although dinosaurs are extinct, we still have a chance to change our environment, our lifestyles, and our attitudes. Just as dinosaurs have disappeared from this earth forever, kindness, gentleness, and selflessness are very seldom seen or heard of in our society these days. Our country's morals continue to slide. A wise man once said, "Everyone dies, but not everyone really lives." Without moral values, our race will not live, but just exist. I want to challenge the class of '95 today to reach after these characteristics talked of today. By imitating the dinosaurs, you will become a better person and will never have to worry about extinction. Your name will live on as a kind, caring person who loved everyone and everyone loved in return. That is truly living.
Wherever life may lead you, may you go with a song in your heart and a spirit inside that makes you want to sing. When you find someone who needs you, may you share the song in your heart and discover all the joy that it can bring. Just remember the song. Just remember the song. You keep in your heart. Just remember the song. Just remember the song. Just remember the song. The song in your heart.
I have the pleasure of introducing a gentleman that traveled a great distance to be with us this afternoon. The 8,000 miles or so that he came across does not make him a stranger to the community of Caldwell. He was born here. He grew up in the community. He attended classes in the same school buildings that we have today, and he graduated from Caldwell High School 24 years ago. He was sitting out in front going through the same ceremony. After graduating from Caldwell High School, he continued his education at Kansas State, where he completed a degree in electrical engineering. Leaving college, he went to work for KG&E about the time that the Wolf Creek nuclear plant was being constructed in near Burlington, and he was part of that program. Today, he makes his home with his family in Saudi Arabia, where he is employed by Aramco, which is the Saudi's national oil company. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, join me and welcome home Randy Clifcorn, class of '71.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Foster. Faculty and staff of Caldwell High School, friends and relatives of the graduating class, and the distinguished members of Caldwell High School's 1995 graduating class. It's indeed an honor and a privilege for me to have this chance to talk to you today. I look out here at the class, and since I don't live in the community anymore, I really don't know the members of this class too well. There are a few that I know, but looking out here and watching you over the past few minutes, there are a lot of faces that I recognize. The only problem is I recognize these faces from your parents years ago. You look very much the same. I bring you greetings from Saudi Arabia. Salam alaikum, ahassalan wa salan. I wanted to impress you with my mastery of the Arabic language. Unfortunately, I know just enough Arabic to get myself in trouble. I know how to say yes and no, how to say thank you and you're welcome, know how to say no problem. That's very important that you know how to say that there. Everybody tells you that. And most importantly, I know how to say how much does that cost, and oh, that's way too much, I can't pay that. It's very important. Before I get started today, I have to tell you that any time I get in front of a group like this to talk, I don't feel well. You know, my voice starts shaking, my stomach hurts, my hands get sweaty, and I don't feel well at all. And today's no exception from that. That's exactly how I feel up here. However, I'm not sure exactly what's causing it today, because see, as I remember it, every time I got close to this cafeteria right back here, I felt a lot the same as this, with the stomach ache and everything else. So I'm not sure what's causing it, but I can't put all the blame on the cafeteria either. You see, there's this thing called jet lag, and my wife and I came in from Saudi Arabia just a couple of days ago, and I'm still in the middle of jet lag, and jet lag is when your mind and your body can't agree what time of day it is. Right now, we're 9 time zones away from home, and my body is telling me that it's almost midnight and it's time to go to bed. But my mind is looking out there and seeing the light and saying, well, it's not really time yet. So if I happen to doze off in the middle, somebody just give me a little nudge and I'll carry on from there. To give you an idea of what jet lag is like, it's a lot, it would be like getting awakened at, say, 3 o'clock in the morning to take one of Miss Reese's biology tests. It just doesn't work out very well. When Mr. Foster asked me to speak today, I was glad to be here. I considered it a privilege and an honor to do this. But it's been quite a while since I've been back to graduation here, so I wanted to know a little bit about what exactly the format was and what was expected of me as a speaker. Mr. Foster told me about that and told me that I'd be expected to talk 10 or 15 minutes, and that's not very long. I thought, well, I can do that. Because see, I'm really not known for long speeches at this high school. In fact, I may well have the record for the shortest speech in the history of this school. Back in the spring of 1970, I was running for student council president here at CHS, and I was glad to do that. I wanted the office. But part of it that I didn't like was that I had to get up and give a speech before the elections. Begrudgingly, I scribbled something down, and I got up there and I gave my speech, and I came back and sat down. Now, the whole time that it took me to give that speech couldn't have been more than, I'd say 30 or 45 seconds. It was a very short speech, and that included the time it took me to go from my seat up to the podium, give the speech, listen to the applause, and go back to my seat again. Now, the applause didn't take up very much of that time, though. There wasn't much of that. Fortunately, I did win the election. I can't really say it was because of my great speech. It was probably more because nobody was running against me. Mr. Foster told you a little bit about my background. To reiterate a little bit, I graduated from here in 1971. I went to K-State, where I got a degree in electrical engineering. It was there when I started dating my wife, Leanne, and we were married before our last semester in college. After I got out, I went to work for KG&E, worked in fossil production, and then with the Wolf Creek Nuclear Generating Station. After KG&E, I worked for 7 years in management consulting, doing consulting at various nuclear power plants across the country. 4 years ago, my wife and I decided it was time to make a change in what we were doing. So we decided if we're going to make a change, let's make a real change. So we packed up and we moved 8,000 miles away. I still remember that night that we arrived in Saudi Arabia. It was on Friday the 13th, which somehow seemed appropriate, and it was just before midnight when we arrived there. We'd been on the plane about 24 hours and we were pretty well beat. We stepped off the plane, and it was about 90 degrees outside with about 90% humidity. We walked into the receiving room at the airport, and I've been in some really crummy airports in the United States, but none of them were this bad. I'm talking a bad airport. Anyway, we walked into this huge room where we get in line for the passport control, and about 10 minutes before our flight arrived, a 747 from the Philippines had landed. And we walked into this room, and I would say there were about, I don't know, maybe 12 million people on that airplane. And they were all in front of us on the passport line. And right then and there was when we had our very first of what we call our multicultural experiences. What our experience was at that time was that people from other countries don't necessarily take baths every day. In fact, I'm not even sure they take a bath every week. But with this room full of people and 90-degree temperatures, 90% humidity, this room was ripe. Of course, after 24 hours on the plane, we probably didn't smell very good either. But anyway, after a few hours in the passport line and moving on, we finally got to our home in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. For the last 4 years, my wife and I have been living there with our daughters, Erica, who is 14, Gretchen, who is 11, and Heidi, who is 7. I work for Saudi Aramco, which is Saudi Arabia's national oil company. Living overseas has been everything we had hoped it would be, and really much more, and in some ways much less. We have seen many different cultures, many different customs, many different habits, and many peculiarities of these people. Some we've grown to have a great appreciation for, some others we've learned to not have a great appreciation for. I think my wife, Leanne, probably put it most clearly, though, when she said that living in Saudi Arabia and traveling throughout the world has given us new eyes. It's allowed us to look at the world situations through eyes that give us a new understanding of what goes on out there in the world. After moving to Saudi Arabia, our youngest daughter, Heidi, who had just turned 4, asked us, "Dad, when are we going to move back to the real world?" Now, I won't say that Saudi Arabia is not part of the real world, but it certainly is different from us. If we look back about 60 years at Saudi Arabia, it was just a desert. A few people running around in the desert. The Bedouins, who are the shepherds there, were riding their camels around, grazing wherever they could. It really had not changed since the Bible times. If you think about Bible stories that you remember as a child where the shepherds were herding their flocks or the camels were riding through the desert, that's exactly what these people were like only 60 years ago. It was in the 1930s, though, that they discovered oil in Saudi Arabia, and all of a sudden Saudi Arabia was thrust into the 20th century. There was a real struggle in this country, and still is today, between the culture of what they'd had for thousands of years there and what they want, the modern conveniences that they want today. But there are still a lot of ways that they are much different from us. There's no freedom of speech in their country, no freedom of assembly. There's no freedom of religion. The only faith is the Muslim faith. If you practice any other faith in their country, it can be punished by imprisonment, by deportation, or even by death. Women there are considered to be second-class citizens. They can't drive anything. Oh, I got a few smiles on that one, didn't I? Yeah. Women cannot drive cars anywhere. The local women, the Saudi women, are required to cover up in black completely. When you see them out in public, they have an abaya or a cape that covers them from their shoulders to their feet. They have a scarf over their heads, and they have a veil over their face. You can't see any part of these women. Each man can have up to 4 wives. There's mandatory prayer time 5 times a day. So this country is very much different from us. And you're probably wondering, well, why am I telling you all about Saudi Arabia? You really don't care much about that. But regardless of all that we don't like or we don't especially have an appreciation for, this country controls one of the main lifelines of our energy supply for this country. This was particularly evident just a few years ago when we had the Gulf War in this region of the world. Now, the United States got into this war to stop a wicked aggressor who was taking over countries, who was killing innocent people, had already taken over Kuwait before the U.S. got there. And that was a just and noble cause. But we also have to look at the fact that the U.S. wanted to protect their energy supply. It was important that we kept that oil flowing from that part of the country. This was seen 22 years ago in 1973 when there was the oil embargo. Our lifeline from that area of the world was cut off, and it sent our markets here into a shock and caused worldwide recession. So the point of all this is that their energy supply is crucial to all of us, and whether we approve of what they do or like what they do, it's important for us to understand what they do. It's going to be important to all of you in whatever careers you pursue to know that what they do halfway across the world impacts every one of us here. The better we understand what goes on out there in the world, the better we can manage our affairs at home here in the United States, the better we can guide our government into what we do, and the better chances for a peaceful existence in this world. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that this is the only spot that is important out there in the world. There are many spots like that. We live in Saudi Arabia, so I can tell you what it's like there. But if you look across the world, there are many areas that will impact your lives. We can look at the developments in the European community. We can look at the war in Bosnia. We can look at the trade talks and the trade sanctions that are going on with Japan right now, the copyright talks with China. All these affect us no matter where we live in this country. Now, there are vast opportunities out there for all of you. The United States is the greatest country in the world. And let me repeat that, because that has become very apparent to us in the time that we spent abroad. The United States is the greatest country in the world. We should all be proud and honored to have the opportunity to live in this country. But too many times in the United States, we tend to look at things with blinders on. We look straight ahead, and we don't really look at things that are going on in other countries and how they affect us here. But the days of this isolationism are over. We can't limit ourselves to what goes on in Kansas or in the United States. We have to look worldwide now. You as graduating seniors should not overlook the opportunities to live and work with people in other countries. Now, to calm the fears of all your parents, I'm not encouraging you to drop what you're doing, pack your bags, and move 8,000 miles away like we did. That's not the purpose of this. But no matter what career you pursue, no matter what job you do, you need to be aware of what goes on in those other countries. Learn the customs, learn the peculiarities of those countries, know what goes on each one of those, and it will make you a better person in the United States, a better country. Now, each one of you is getting ready to enter a new phase of your life. Up until now, you've had somewhat of a sheltered life or a path that's been set for you. All of you went through school here, and it was pretty well just set that that's what you were going to do. You're going to go through, you're going to graduate from high school. But now you're about to step out of this environment and start a new life. For some of you, it may mean that you go to college or to a trade school. For some of you, it may mean military service. Others of you may decide that you're ready to go out into the job market and get a job. But whatever you do, these next few years, you're going to have a lot of decisions to make. And the decisions that you make on who you will marry, how you live, what kind of career you will pursue, what kind of lifestyle you will follow, and the morals and the ideals by which you live your life will be very important. Today I'm going to call those your defining moments. Now, I like that phrase, defining moments, but I can't take credit for it. I'll give that credit to David Cohn, who is a major league pitcher. David Cohn has been with several teams. He's pitching now for the Toronto Blue Jays. And he talks about these defining moments as times in his life when he made some decision or something happened to him that affected his career and really affected where he would go in the rest of his life. Now, David Cohn has been in trouble with the team management and with the law of every town where he's pitched, so I really can't say he's a great role model, but I like this idea of his defining moments. As I look over my life, I can look at several defining moments also. My decision to go to college, my decision to get an engineering degree, my wife's and my decision to get married, what job we would take after college, when to change jobs, when to change careers. Our decision to move to Saudi Arabia was definitely a defining moment. And lastly, I have to say that my decision to accept Christ as my personal Savior was definitely a defining moment. Now, I'm not up here to preach to you today, and I'm not going to go on with that, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that that one defining moment has been the most important defining moment in my life. Now, when I look at the defining moments that I've faced, they've been kind of spread out over a lot of years. But looking back, right after I graduated from high school, there seems to be kind of a log jam of defining moments that I had there. You have to decide very soon how you're going to live your life. All of you are now preparing to leave high school, leave your families, and many of you will move on from this community. You're going to be facing your own decisions, and you're going to have to decide what you're going to do. Mom's not going to be there to tell you what to do or to make your decisions anymore. That's good, But I think what you're going to find is that the world a lot of times is much harder on you than mom was, so be prepared for it. When you face these defining moments, these decisions that you have to make in these next few years, make these decisions as if the rest of your life depends on it, because the rest of your life does depend on these decisions you make. Don't make these decisions hastily. Don't make them without first thoroughly thinking out the consequences and the ramifications of all these decisions. If you decide that you're tired of living with your parents, you want to move out from that, you want to go out, you want to get your own job and make your own money and support yourself, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But if you choose to do that, look at the consequences of that. Know what limitations that puts on the jobs you'll be able to get in the future, how much money you'll be able to make, and the opportunities for advancement in your job. If you move on and you decide you want to go to college, look at what opportunities are out there, what you want to major in. Choose a major that you will like, that you think will be fun, that you'll enjoy doing for the rest of your life, but also one that will provide the type of monetary rewards that you want too. There has to be a balance of those. You have to pursue something you like, but also something that you can be happy with the money also. There are many options for you today. Make sure that the one that you pick is one that you'll like a year from now, and one that you'll like 24 years from now, when one of you is up here speaking to the graduating class of 2019. That may sound like a long time from now, but believe me, it's going to go very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen of the Caldwell High School class of 1995, you're about to embark on a wonderful and exciting journey. Whether you realize it or not, today you've experienced one of your defining moments, and that was graduating from high school. See, that wasn't very hard, was it? It's pretty easy when you get to this point, but the decisions are going to get a lot harder from here. When you walk out of this door today, all of you are going to have a high school diploma. At least I'm assuming all of you will. We'll say that. At that point, you're all going to be on the same footing. You'll all be on the same basis. But when you leave that door, you're all going to go on different paths. The path that you choose now is going to define the rest of your life. Make a good decision as if the rest of your life depends on those decisions, because it really does. There's so much out there for you to experience. I envy your youth. I'm jealous of your enthusiasm, but I really have no desire to go back and do it again. I'll leave that to you. Make good, responsible decisions, because the rest of your life will depend on these decisions you make in the near future. Thank you for giving me this chance to talk to you today. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me to share this special event, this defining moment in your life. I wish for you all the best of luck. And I wish God's speed and God's grace to go with you every step of the way. Thank you.
Will the members of the class of 1995 please stand? Members of the Board of Education, both present and past, honored guests, parents, relatives, and patrons. As superintendent of schools, I hereby certify that these young men and women who will receive their diplomas today have fulfilled all of the requirements for graduation established by the State Board of Education and the Board of Education at Caldwell Schools, Unified School District 360. The members of the class of 1995 are now ready to receive their diplomas.
You are welcome to come forward with cameras if you wish to take pictures. Michael David Adams. Courtney Page Akers. Bryce A. Boyle. Graduating with honors, class valedictorian, Andrea Shea Burcham. Joseph Shane Calloway. Enrico Stroliov Canelli. How did I do? Carrie Nicole Gard. Joshua Robert Ginn. Holly Lynette Goodman. Corey Lee Kane. Marcus Quinn Knowles. Clifford Dwayne Latimer. Todd William Lowe. Richard L. Maxwell. Alyssa Ann Overall. How did I do? Graduating with honors, class salutatorian, Leslie Marie Perry. Graduating with honors, Sarah Janine Powell. Ronald Benjamin Rao. Luana Lynn Russell. Graduating with honors, Joseph Michael Schaefer. Rebecca Lynn Schaffner. Jim E. Stowe. Arsene R. Thompson. Jamie Marie Webster. Tyson Lee Webster. David Lee Wolf. Jeffrey Gale Wyckoff. Travis Shane York.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back, The sunshine warm upon your sunshine warm upon your face. The rain falls soft upon your feet. The rain falls soft upon your feet. Falls soft. And until we meet again, may God hold you in His hand. May God hold you in the hollow of His hand, Amen, amen, amen.
Seniors, please stand. Change your tassel to the right side. Turn and face the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the Caldwell High School graduates of the class of 1995.